I'm going to drink like something's wrong with me. I'm going to drink like I'm a lot sadder than I am. I'm gonna drink
Tequila! I don't want to be Puma.
GMat.
Is there anything for dessert or something? Oh, Mario! Oh my God!
Woo.
Hometown Spider-Man.
Yay. I need help with doing a push-up.
This is still going?
Yep.
Fuck!
I had an idea to, distract everybody from the fact that this is another solo episode. To just be like, the GMat podcast is dead, or the GMat podcast is over, or the end of the GMat podcast, or something like that. And I'm trying to decide if that's too mean or if that's too stupid. I'm probably going to do it, honestly. So it's not the end of the GMat podcast. I don't know. I want to make people watch this because it's hard. It's really hard to sell a solo podcast. But there's some stuff going on that we need to talk about. I don't have any notes. I'm sort of blind today. There was a plan. Here's what the plan was today. This week we were going to get together and do it with all three of us. It's been an incredibly difficult, 3-week patch of planning. And then the backup option, which is what we were going to do today, was Ben was going to come over. But there's been a bit of an emergency and Ben can't come today. And today is Friday and the podcast is supposed to come out tomorrow morning. And I've got to go to the theater in 3 hours from now. So I have 3 hours to edit and record this podcast and get it out on time. And we need to get one out because we didn't do one last week. So here is option C. This guy. And Beck, I was this morning at 8 a.m. when I got Ben's message, I rolled over to Beck and I was like, please, can you do the podcast today? And she's like, I can't. She's got a thing on she has to go to. And she's there all day. And I was like, okay. Solo it is, baby. So I apologize. I know solo podcasts aren't. I know there's a few people out there who like me and don't mind listening to me. But the podcast fans aren't necessarily GMat fans. You know what I mean? There is a big patch of the podcast audience who aren't the real GMat fans that don't watch my videos and don't watch my streams and just come in for the podcast. So when you come in for the podcast and you get just me talking to myself, I can understand that's a bit of a disappointment. So I apologize for that. But I'm going to try my best to keep it brief, keep it short, get out a couple jokes, and get out of your hair so that we can come back next week, fully fledged, all four of us in the room, ready to power through the rest of 2022 with some good content. So what's been going on? Have I addressed everything? First off, apologies for last week. We missed a podcast. There isn't really a good excuse for why we missed a podcast. It was just bad planning from me. I mean, I'm the one who plans it, so I got to take the blame for when it fucks up because it was a bad week, and I got to the end of the week and went, I've got nothing and I can't do one, and I was just like, all right, we're just gonna have to skip a week, which we haven't done. I don't think we've ever missed a week. So apologies and thank you for not sending hate mail. Didn't get a single person being like, fuck you guys. Everyone was just sort of like, cool, don't worry. So, thing number one, Aiden and I go into production week. Now, production week, for those who don't do musical theatre, is just like the week before you do the show. So you're at the theatre every single night, really, really late, getting home at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., trying to get some rest because doing a show, being around people, singing, dancing, it's not particularly difficult work. It's not like being at the theatre for a night isn't any harder than, a day's labor. But it is late at night, and for a lot of us, it's after a day's labor. It's not our job. We do it because we love it. And we're there to it's out of love. So there's a high risk of getting sick, getting unwell, getting tired, getting fatigued, which everybody gets. You get that way. But fatigue's natural during a show, especially these like high budget shows, these big company shows that we do. They push you hard because they want to make a good product because they're selling tickets, expensive tickets for an amateur production because the amateur production is a higher quality than the average amateur. Anyways. So I got sick. Probably like day one of production week, I was like, sick. And it wasn't fatigue sick. I was just sick. Shame, real shame. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're doing runs in the theater before the show opens on a Friday. And I'm sick and I'm having to take vocal rest during the days just so I can get words out, so I can get on stage and say my words. I have to sing a song. For those who know Chicago, I'm playing Amos, and it's not a particularly, it's like the second biggest male part there, but compared to the main male who does like 3 songs, he's the next one. So I do a lot of scene work, and then I do one big song in Act 2. So I just needed my voice to hold up enough that I could do that song, say my lines. That's it. So I had to take it easy at the theater. We had to change some of the notes in the songs. We had to change the melody and just tweak things a little bit so that I didn't have to sing massive big notes, which was fine. I had to change the way I said some lines so I wasn't yelling, I wasn't blowing my voice out. And then then during the day, I was sleeping. I was resting, and I wasn't speaking, and that made it really difficult to do a podcast. I was like, hey guys, I'm on like total vocal rest. I can't do a podcast. I thought maybe towards the end of the week I would get better, and I just didn't get better. So that's what happened. Also, Ben had COVID that week, so it was going to be between me and Aiden, and Aiden's also been super busy. So you got Ben had COVID, Aiden's busy, and I mean busy, not like he's busy. Like he really is fucking busy this week, last week, and the week before, and next week. He's busy all the time now. And then, yeah, I was just sick. I was unwell. And I was really sick. Like, I thought I had COVID. And I did rat tests every single day to make sure, like, you can still hear it. I'm still getting my voice back slowly and doing shows. Like, last night, it's a 9-show season, so it's 9 days in a row. Sorry, 10 days in a row with 1 day off. And last night, being the 6th show we've done, was the first night I sung the song the way it's written. Because I was like, all right, I'm starting to get my voice back. I can sing this song. Which has been a bummer, but whatever. What was I saying? So then this week I was like, hey, I should start to feel better. But I didn't feel better, so we couldn't get a podcast out early in the week. I couldn't work it out with the boys. We did this, the backup thing for today, and then it just fell through. So just the largest of apologies to you guys, the listeners, for just the crap content, just not getting content out, getting this out today. I'm not stoked that I have to do a solo podcast. I'm sure you're not either, but here we are, getting through it. And it's like, I feel like this is like a catalyst, a precipice, like for a lot of things. The second this show's done, because the YouTube content hasn't been solid either. Like it's been a busy 2-3 weeks of just trying to make content. And I feel like at the end of this show, it's going to be like a jumping off point to a new chapter. Not really. It's still going to be making the same stuff, but my brain can just focus on the content and not the show, which is what I want to do. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to Monday, just like jumping back into my job and jumping back into this stuff. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to some podcast stuff. We haven't really had a chance to catch up, any of us, for 3 or 4 weeks. So I'm looking forward to coming back with, stories and stuff that's been going on. Ben spent his entire isolation in one room, 7 days in his room. So I'm really looking forward to how his brain broke down during that. Aiden has a good story. He's like, oh, I've got a story for the podcast. And because I don't think he was on the podcast even prior to the one we missed last week. So he's been buzzing to get back on. So that's that, everybody. And that's what's been going on. The show's been going well. This is probably, and I don't want to toot my own horn or anything, but this is, Ellie's looking at me. She's so fucking cute. This is the most complimentary show I've ever done. I've done a lot of shows. I've done upwards of 30 or 40 shows in my 28 years on this planet. And never, ever, ever have I gone out into the foyer after a show and had as many people come up and say, and grab me and say, oh my God, you were so good. Like just compliments and saying, we loved you, you blah, blah, blah. Can we get a photo? That sort of shit. I felt like a goddamn celebrity. It's been just amazing, especially because I felt so shit about what I was doing because I wasn't at my full health. To come out of the foyer and have just so many people being so nice to me has made me feel really good. So this has been a fun show. A fun show. For me personally. I didn't love the process, you know. The getting to the end line has been a really fucking tough battle for everyone involved. But I'm glad we're here now. And so that's been fun. And obviously Aiden's there as well. Aiden's there every night. He's just like me. He's got a full day's work and then we have to come to the theatre and it's just been hard. So looking forward to next week. Looking forward to getting back into some stuff. Aiden and I have been sharing. We share a dressing room, which we're stoked about because we're two different. Like we've shared dressing rooms before, but like we. Oh, Ellie on your couch. Good girl. We weren't sure if we were going to share a dressing room this time because our characters aren't at not the same level, but we're in really two different parts of the show, and you sort of get like I thought I would get matched up with the other guy, the other lead male. I thought him and I would be in a change room, but they twisted it around so that people could be with people they like. So Aiden and I got to be together with another guy named Blair. And then that other lead male went with another smaller part who is they're both like similar in age and get along really well. So that was good. But Aiden and I have been in the dressing room together. I just thought about something. He came to me the other day. We'll talk about this when everyone's here as well. Because it was fucking funny. We're having some conversation about sex and he was having a conversation with Blair, and the question got pitched to me. He said, hey, what do you think of to make yourself not come? And I knew my answer immediately and I went to say it, and he saw in my eyes that I was about to say something about him, and I stopped. I went, I don't know. And he was like, you do know, you were about to say it. And I was like, yeah, but it's about you. And it was that I immediately knew it because it's something I've told Beck before as well. And he was like, what? Tell me. And should I tell you guys or should I save it for the other thing? No, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a little fucking to be continued. Anyways, I think about something about Aiden that stops me from coming, and I'm going to tell everybody at the next podcast. And he pissed himself, and it was just the interaction of being like, "Hey, what makes you come?" And I go, "Oh," and he goes, "Wait, what was it?" Like he knew, and I didn't want to say it, and then I said it, and yeah. And the fact that it came straight into my head means that it's something I've spoken about before. I've told Beck, if you asked Beck, what does Matt think of to make himself not come, she would know the answer immediately. It's come up that fucking much. Yeah, good times. Good times had by all. We're just getting through to Saturday. Saturday's like the after party for the show, and I'm going to drink like it's the Civil War and doctors are coming to saw our legs off. I'm going to drink like it's the end of the goddamn world. I'm going to drink like there's a virus inside me, and the only way to kill it is whiskey. And joints. I'm gonna drink like something's wrong with me. I'm gonna drink like I'm a lot sadder than I am. I'm gonna drink like I've just been dumped, and the person who dumped me is now going out with my mother. I'm gonna drink like drinking is the cure to COVID. I'm gonna drink like I'm trying to open a pool of whiskey inside my own tummy, and everyone's invited for a dip. I'm gonna drink like I'm a fucking Molotov cocktail. I'm gonna put a towel in my mouth and I'm gonna blow everyone up. I'm gonna drink like I'm gonna drink so much it's gonna make people uncomfortable. I'm gonna ruin the party. I'm gonna drink so much it hurts. I'm looking forward to it. Do I have any notes? I've been jotting some stuff down in my I do have a note immediately. So there's a guy in the show. He's called Lester, is his name. He's a penis. Don't know why I clicked when I said that. His name's Lester, baby. And I've never said this before. I've never called him this before. I've never thought about this before. But it's like if I saw Aiden, I was like, Aiden, Baden, what's up, my babadoo? Like I was doing a bit like that. But I went straight up to him. I was like, Lester the molester. And it fell out of my mouth. It's not that I think he's a molester or I've ever thought he's a molester. It's that his name rhymes with it. And I was on a roll. I couldn't stop myself. The words came out and I couldn't help it. I was like, Lester the molester. And he heard me. I heard me. It was uncomfortable. Yeah, I hope I never do that again. I'll tell you what, telling stories on a podcast is really hard when you don't have the other two boys there to laugh with you. Fuck you now. Is that long enough? It's just so... I hate doing solo podcasts more than anything else in this world. I hate it. It's been so long as well since I haven't been streaming, I haven't been making content, so I haven't been talking to myself like I often do. So I'm like out of practice. I got what's it called? Not pink eye, but similar to pink eye. What's it called? I'm gonna look up the thing from my doctor. You guys will know. You'll be like, hey dickhead, it's called this. Come on. What have I got? No, I can't because I said pink eye to that person. Something in my eye. Because I was sick. He said it's either a viral infection, have you been sick lately, or it's a bacterial infection. And like gave me that look like, you been eating ass? You put poo in your eye? And I was like, no. It could be. I don't know if there's poo in my eye. And that was just another cherry on top of the cake that has been this week of being sick. Sick too, like coughing. All right, let's think of something. To talk about. To finish us off here. Fuck, I love musical theatre. That's all I got, you guys. That's every note. I don't want to use notes that I can use next week. I miss you guys. I can't wait to get back into some stuff. There's some great games coming out. I shouldn't talk about GMat stuff on the podcast, but there's some really good games coming out at the end of August, start of September, that I'm looking forward to jumping onto. The Real GMat on YouTube, Real GMat on Twitch. Go check it out. The Patreon support has been crazy. You guys are awesome. We should make a note to remind people to rate the podcast, like the podcast, review the podcast if you're on iTunes or any of those ones. I think we're going to revamp a couple things we do in the podcast moving forward to remind people to do that stuff. Because somebody found the podcast the other day and they were like, you guys have great reviews. And I was like, really? And I looked and I was like, oh, we do have reviews. So I think we need to get people doing that shit, get people reviewing and liking and, reminding people to do that. So if I forget to do that, somebody remind me in the Discord to do that. And the thing that stops me from coming is Aiden's feet. I'll see you guys later. Hey, it's GMat here. And don't forget, if you enjoyed that episode of the GMat podcast and you want to hear more, we also have the podcast post show over at patreon.com/the GMat podcast. The post show is a shorter episode recorded directly after the main podcast where we wrap things up and talk about anything we didn't have time to talk about. $3 a month and cancel anytime. We are a community-supported podcast, so your support over there funds the show and makes it easier for us to keep doing what we love. If you want to support us, head over to patreon.com/the GMat podcast.